Hey y'all, today we're going to be talking about the Mavic Air. It's dope. I guess you're going to have to believe me because I got hands-on time with this one, so suck it! I kind of want to do like the couple of things you need to know. Don't really know how many there will end up being, so let's ballpark it at 5 because I like 0, 5, 0, and even numbers, so it's either going to be 4 or 5 just because of my particular idiosyncrasy. So the big thing that you're going to need to know that's not going to be on the list is that the Mavic Air is probably the dopest aerial platform on the market right now. The only value for money that is better than the Mavic Air is the Obsidian. Let's be honest, it's way cooler, just like Space Gray is on the iMac Pro, Phantom 4 Pro Plus. I don't know about the plus part myself, but Phantom 4 Pro Obsidian version is the only greater value for money on the market right now. You know, a lot of people seem to think about these aerial platforms in one way or one of several others, right? It's very, very idiosyncratic. So a lot of people will think of it either as a flying stills camera or a flying video camera or just something to play with. You know, there's a lot of different little niches that you can fall into with a drone. It could be FPV racing, it could just be for fun. It kind of depends on you. That's the whole point of the word idiosyncratic. It feels like there's rarely a reviewer or a user that we see publicly, at any rate, embracing a drone of any description as a fully featured product. I'd like to be an exception to that. I don't know if I am entirely, but I am trying. So far, I've kind of gone through phases. First on the list of the things that you need to know about the Mavic Air is that you need to play with it. That doesn't sound like something you need to know, but work with me here. You won't get the best results out of your Mavic Air if you use intelligent flight modes or quick shots. You're gonna have to fly it manually. The way the quick shots work, you know, wrapping up in a nice neat package, it comes in, it comes back, boom, you have a result. That's really nice, right? But it's never going to get you as good of a shot as you could have gotten if you'd played with it and become comfortable with flying the drone manually. Besides, I wish that there were a couple of things that they'd done a little bit differently with those quick shots, with those intelligent flight modes, like having a droney, for example, have the opportunity to be recorded in, you know, 868 by 1080, which is Instagram native pixel resolution, right? So that you could have it ready for social immediately. The spherical panoramas just don't seem to work on really many other apps besides Ricoh Theta's 360 app that I've used at any rate. And so those spherical panoramas are largely a gimmick. Your images will look better if you use HDR mode, if you adjust your exposure manually. Your video is going to look better if you use Cine D and edit it in post. All of these things are non-standard and have to be done manually. You have to play with your Mavic Air. You have to play with your brand new shiny drone to be able to get the most out of it, to know how to use it best, how to use it most effectively, and where to use it best and most effectively. One of my favorite moments so far with my Mavic Air was being out with my partner at coffee, because we go out for coffee all the time. I love coffee. I'm a fiend for coffee. And I was just like, we were sitting outside and I was just like, you know what, I want to drone you. And so I just took it off and got one of the two of us. And that has been a really unique bridge for me mentally, right? Like a drone can be a highly professional tool. It can be a highly complex, you know, integrated aerial platform as both a flying contraption and a camera, but you can also turn it into something for fun and something for quick and easy consumption and the product of it. And that really was awesome for me. Mavic Air is really changing the way that I'm looking at casual hobbyist imaging, making it more dynamic and engaging, making me want to do that kind of shooting more, which is really invigorating for me. Number 2 thing that you need to know about your Mavic Air, you have to enjoy it. Kind of jumping off the last one, you know, to get the most out of your Mavic Air, you're going to have to really enjoy this device. You're going to have to enjoy diving into menus, diving into the way that the system functions and playing with it a ton, right? You're going to have to enjoy the process of working with this device to get you the best result possible. You're going to have to play with your ingest settings, with the way it's being shot. You're going to have to play with your editing, with your edit software, with the way that you are going to view capturing on a device. To get what you can out of the Mavic Air, and crucially, what you can out of the Mavic Air, you have to enjoy it to the point that you're willing to invest the time, because it has so few limitations. The biggest limitation is always going to be the user. Personally, I prefer HDR for stills, and the 2.7K so far in 60p has been sublime. It seems like a much better resolution. It resolves much better. It's much higher quality than the 1080, 1920 by 1080. It's 27 whatever by 1080. Much better, and at 60p, it's very nice to get it at cinematic slow motion. It looks fantastic in active track. It looks fantastic with some faster flights. I want to take a minute out quickly before we move on to the next thing and say I have reached, I think the ask on my 7R3 video was about 750 likes and blew that out of the water, and I want to thank everybody that was a part of that. That was a while back now. It made a huge difference for me and for that video. I would love it if we could get this to 250 likes, just because haven't had that much love lately. Had a lot of mean comments. That would be really nice for my ego on YouTube, which is dwindling. So thank you very much in advance for that. Let's move on to the next point. The third thing is you have to understand it. The Mavic Air does have some limitations. It doesn't have, obstacle avoidance sensors on its lateral sides or on the top of it. The imaging sensor is basically the size of a smartphone sensor, so it's a very limiting sensor. It's small, which means that it will never be as stable as a Phantom aircraft, for example, in heavy winds or when you're really trying to push it. APAS can really be difficult, and the intelligent flight modes and the quick shots really are going to require a prohibitive amount of space for most users. You're going to need so much space that it's going to keep you from being able to actually use these modes. So without understanding the limitations, you won't be able to maximize your flight. I've crashed twice, due in part to me and due in part to lack of sensor coverage. And I think that I can include the latter of those to the lack of sensor coverage, because 99.9% of the time, the sensor coverage is so adequate that it's almost prohibitive in trying to get the darn thing out of a tricky spot. But I wouldn't be able to fly as well as I feel like I can if I relied on sensors all the time. I've been taking much better images. I've been capturing much better results since I learned better how far I could push the aircraft reasonably in the environments that I'm tending to fly in. I wouldn't have reasonably been able I wouldn't have realized that I could reliably capture 2+ second exposures if I hadn't had the hobbyist's passion for ISO 100 and maximum dynamic range. If I didn't know the aircraft as I believe I do so well, I wouldn't have the ability to capture what I have been able to capture so far. I wouldn't have the confidence to fly as aggressively, and I wouldn't have the confidence to compose as cinematically and as stunningly, effectively, visually as I believe that I am. At the time of writing this script for this video, I've logged a total of 6 hours across 2 batteries, averaging about a 13-minute flight time. That's a lot of flights. I'm sure that as I keep it up and as winter turns into spring and summer, the images and the videos, what I'm capturing, will be even better as I become more comfortable with the device. Aerial platform for those of you who don't like the word device. And number 4 is you gotta baby it. You gotta baby your Mavic Air. This is a remarkably tough aircraft. This is a remarkably tough aircraft. Just by looking at it and feeling it, the build quality is very good. It can handle high winds. It can handle high winds, and it can handle some scrapes. I've crashed mine twice from about 4 feet on average above the relevant hard surfaces that it fell onto. I've only had to deal with replacing the propellers. I haven't had to deal with recalibrating the compass or recentering the gimbal. That being said, I've become more cautious, and I'm going to go further out of my way, as I have already, to not crash it. The only way you can elevate your imagination is to keep it in one piece. And it's a substantial investment. That being said, it does have so many onboard safety features that you can also reasonably fly it just about any way that you'd like to, and you'll probably be just fine. I have loved playing with my Mavic Air. I hope you have appreciated this hands-on review, and I so hope that you will check out the Amazon affiliate links in the description below, and that you will subscribe. I have had a couple of comments lately that have been like, how do you not have more subscribers? And it's because people like you are not subscribing. I would really appreciate it if you did. I'd love to be able to make it further, to do more with this channel, and the only way that I can do that is with your help. So thank you very much.